You know, it's nice with a white carpet. Maybe I prefer a red carpet when I do my entry, but it's okay. So I think you really should fill out this carpet today to actually say what is performative and what is a public space and how do we remake the public space. So, okay, making performative, thank you. Making performative places and rethink the public realm. That's our starting point. I will make 4 short notes about that. Public culture. Oslo, downtown Oslo. In 2000, there was a big international competition for the new opera building and the Norwegian ballet. And they have been quarreling for about 25 years where the site should be. In the end, they did really something really good rethinking, because they said, okay, maybe we should rethink and transform a whole new area downtown in Oslo. So they decided that the culture building should be the first building, and it also had to set the standard. There were 524 entries, and luckily we won the project. It's a really easy concept. You really have to then rethink how you're going to do the public space. In the program, it didn't say anything about public space, but we said we have to reconnect the city center to the green structure in the city, and actually the opera, the new building, should be more like a landscraper than a skyscraper. So to tie that back and get it back to the fjord was really important. So the notion of the program interior-wise had a lot of program, but the public space didn't have any program. So we said this actually going to slope down all the way to the ocean. And then, okay, we worked together with 3 artists to make this sloping carpet that could be the 5th facade, but also a public plaza. And then we made actually a white carpet like you have here today. And how do you then start to use a white carpet? We invited people 24/7. There is no program. There's nowhere, here you should sit, here you should throw your litter, here is where you're going to actually see something. It's really occupied by people like you're on a hike, like you're in a landscape. And it can also be totally transformed to a concert place. 8,000 people sitting together in an outdoor concert. And of course, we wanted people also to be curious what's going inside. So the indoor-outdoor connection is really important, because a lot of people in Norway thought that why on earth should we spend so much money to actually make an opera house? We don't really need that. But now people have started to go to the opera. And of course, it's wintertime in the Nordic countries. So we also have to think about how will this work during wintertime, that you actually still will be walking and hiking on the carpets. And of course, it should also be a place where you can perform. So the small swan girls and boys can actually entertain and act outdoors. But maybe more important, the real swans still is there, and they are also connected to the opera house. And you can go there by your own and have your own experience and rethink the public place. Public reconstruction. I think a lot of our challenges in the future now will be reconstruction. We can't just keep on building new things, so we have to rethink how to do that. In New York, the New Yorker had 2 front pages with the Times Square. We have made a project in the Times Square reconstruction and how to rethink that area. I think for about 15 years they have been discussing and planning how to actually make Times Square a place that you actually can walk. So from 42nd to 47th Street, there is a stretch that is crossing over 7th Avenue. It's called the bow tie. And all of this area is now under reconstruction. So the Broadway that is actually crossing through all over Manhattan is now a pedestrian area. They tested it out for 2 years to see how people would react to it before they actually did the reconstruction. And they saw that there were so much more people that were out walking, and there were less accidents. They have also, not just for the walkers, but for the bicycle lanes. And also, 7th Avenue is now a one-way street, so it's totally rechanged. In December, the 3 first parts was ready to go, and it was a big challenge to actually make this new carpet. Because they said, no, the only thing that you actually should do is to be horizontal. It's only the carpet that should be reworked. And the concept is very simple. It's just actually the 2 directions of Broadway crossing 7th Avenue that is also seen in the precast new concrete flooring that is there. And it's leading you way through Times Square. it was a big restriction of what to do on the carpet, and they said that there should be no obstacles whatsoever. It's heavy load with technical infrastructure below grade, so that's been a big challenge to make everything work. But for the everyday life, we also said that there has to be some places that you can stop, that you can start think, and you have a different pace. So we made these 5 sorts of sitting obelisks that is inside now that is going to be to the construction, and that you can sit on different places, and that you actually maybe have a rethinking of how you can sit and slow down your pace. And the 24/7 notion that people is always walking there, and try to also reconnect with the people in New York, because most New Yorker, they hate Times Square because they think it's so touristic. So also re-invite the people of New York has been important. And then to make this carpet was also that you needed to rethink the flooring. So we can slowly change to this big yoga place, or you can have rodeo, and in the end, maybe even much more important, and people can raise their voice and use it as a public plaza that you can actually fight for your own rights. Public nature. What should actually that mean? Because most of the time we're talking about the urban situation. Going up to Tverrfjellet Dovre in Norway, this has been a military area for 60 years. And they moved the military part, and then they would recapture it to nature. So it's not part of a national park. And there's wild reindeers there. So the Wild Reindeer Center asked us if we can make a small place that you actually can view the wild reindeers. And actually, this is also the place where Snøhetta, the mountain that we are named after, it's actually at the same spot. So we said that, okay, let's make a frame, let's make a destination that everybody can walk inside the nature and make it more public. And it's 1.5 kilometer hike up that everybody actually can do, and you're totally in this new display of nature. And when you have first the frame, we made something that we call a big furniture that's both indoor and outdoor. It's made of pine wood, 20 by 20 centimeter of whole pine. No glue, no nails, no nothing. And it's really inside. And you frame it, and you can go inside a room. You have a fireplace, and you can actually view. You have a destination. You can reuse the nature and have a new display. And of course, the animals that are outside, they can view the strange creatures that actually sit indoors and have their view on these strange people walking up there. And the small box just sits in the nature, looks like it's never been a military area there because of the revegetation and how you keep actually the notion of the landscape. The last part I will talk about is this little public agriculture, because we know that we have to really use more cleverly how we're going to produce food. This is tiny project. It's downtown Oslo. There's a food court, and that is a transformation for industrial buildings near the river. And it's also the House of Dance. And those two together, they now said that, okay, we want to do something different. And in the food court, there was a guy, he's producing honey. And he said, could you please help us to actually make this beehive? So we went down there and said, okay, the bees really actually needs to be a little bit alone because this is packed with people during daytime. So we looked on the top of the building to see that maybe that's a place you actually can have a beehive. And of course, we tested a lot of different designs, but why not just use the honeycomb? The bees maybe know that, and it feels comfortable and safe and very homey to do that. A lot of 3D testing to get the right shape, and then said, okay, this beehive should really stand out to be like a little lighthouse that's on the top of the building. And we have the excavation. We do that in our own workshop, building it all up, and then with a lift, get it up on the roof. And actually then there stand these golden beehives on top downtown Oslo. Actually, the problem in Norway is actually really healthy bees in Norway. So it's more that people are not having bees anymore. So that has been a reduction in the last 10 years. But other places in the world, it's really a crisis in the lives of the bees. So this is also a notion how to do production, that you always can see that there is something going up there, and it actually is the same that is done inside the industrial building. So the bees, they moved in the middle of the summer this year in their new high-rise, the golden high-rise. And then you can actually see all of them. There are 160,000 individuals living in these two high-rises. And they're all organized, and already we have 80 kilos of honey that is produced. And I think that's maybe part of what we have to think. We have to stack people on top of each other, and it has to be organized. And if they're also really happy with the environment and the design around them, I think everybody maybe will get a little bit happier, and you can rethink how you can do that notion. So I thought that could be the startup point for how we today will have all these different speakers talk about making performative places, and that all of you really have to rethink the public realm and how we can use that.